listening to On the Air with Lock and Load Publishing. We are here to have a great time and discuss everything from games, designs, production, to simply what's on our minds. We let you know what has us excited in the gaming industry and what's next for Lock and Load Publishing. Grab your helmets. This show starts right now.
What? No monitor? We don't know what it looks like.
I'm sexy. I don't know what you guys.
How you guys doing today?
Hey, David, how are you?
Not bad. So we're gonna have a really great show today. We have something different and unique to show everybody. We really need to give a gigantic round of applause to Mark Faircloth and his team down there.
Honorable rag.
Didn't know you had that many people there, did you? All right, I'm just going to start off with a few announcements for Lock and Load like I normally do. I want to let you know, guys, the games are actually being put onto the ships.
It officially became a launch event.
There you go.
The ship
launch
container
event.
launch.
Yeah. Excellent.
So, hold on, get Devin on there. Hold on, there we go.
There you go.
Devin's switching.
Okay.
There we go.
I turned off your mic, Dev.
My mic is okay. I guess it's not.
There you go.
No, it's not letting me. Go ahead and mute me.
Okay, I just muted you, Devin. All right, guys. So anyway, that's the news there. And I guess what we'll explain what we're going to be doing. Mark has basically made a miniature version of World War 85 on a scale. I don't know if it's unprecedented, but it seems to be.
It's unprecedented.
Really? Okay. All right. All right. So what we'll do is, Mark, hey, tell us a little bit what craziness got you to do this, and I guess tell us a little bit about what you did.
Well, I actually started out.
Before you talk anymore, you might want to turn the camera a little. You guys might want to get a little bit closer because Mark cut off right in the middle.
Oh.
Kevin, can you spin that a little bit? You watch it.
Jeff, that's not going to work. You're going to have to sit in Keith's lap.
Wait. Why don't we put him in the middle and you can interview him, and then we'll be off to the sides. You can call us in.
We're good like
That should be good. You all three are there now.
Okay. Oh, we're all here now. Okay.
Yeah.
I was interested in World War 85. Actually, I was interested in World War. I had never played the older system, so I was doing some research on BGG, and I was confused. I didn't know which game to buy, so I didn't know where to start. It was the typical stuff. And I still haven't played the other one. And I watched Kev Sharp do a review on it, and Kev said, it's the review where he says, just buy the game. So I said, okay, I didn't know about the Kickstarter, so I went and researched the Kickstarter. I saw it, so I downloaded the little starter kit, played that, and about halfway through that game, I went, this would make a great miniatures game. So I sent you a photo of the first one that we did just to kind of test the concept, and we did that, and my brother and I were playing the game. And at that point, I was hooked. I mean, I was just hook, line, and sinker. I thought this is going to be great. The first board didn't look that great, but it proved the concept. So I made a better board and a better, slightly. The second iteration was slightly better. And then we did a battle report. And when we did the battle report, that is where Keith jumped on and said, "Hey, listen, I'm designing a game report. You got some of the rules wrong, would you?" Incidentally, I'm still doing that. So, but you got some of the rules wrong, and he helped me out. And so from there, I sent him a PM. We got some conversations going. But I watched Devin do his the battle report on where the Germans are attacking.
Yeah, the West Germans are attacking, and then the
Now by this time,
Downfall
understand my brother and I, the only thing we've got is the starter snare. So we played that thing, 7 or 12 times. I don't know.
it was the only game in town.
So we played it. So I sent Devin a PM and I said, hey man, listen, the last time you did battle report, you were looking at the scenario and I was taking a screenshot, but it's a little blurry and I can't see what troops there are, and I really want to get another scenario. And he said, oh man, I'll help you out. So he sent me a PDF copy of one of the scenarios. So we made that into a board, built those troops, and then we did another battle report. And then one thing leads to another. And I said, anything worth doing is worth overdoing, and here we are. Yeah.
Nice.
So it really, honestly, it started out, I'm even playing this because of the interaction with YouTube and your battle reports. And Kevin Sharp said, hey, were you ready to buy this? Devin, not only did he send me the scenario that got me going, but he really gave me some advice how to play the game. And then Keith came in the YouTube channel and said, you got some rules issues that would start some conversations.
So negative.
No, I think that's a great thing, because it got me plugged into the community, which got me even more motivated to do it. And anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So here we are, and now we've got a 6 foot by 8 foot version of the defensive
I cannot describe. I don't know if you have any graphics of this that got sent along, but it is one of the most incredible setups I've ever seen, because it's a miniature setup, but everything's codified for World War 85. It is World War 85 on a huge scale that I know I myself couldn't do. I don't know what Joe could do with miniatures and everything. And the rule system works for counters. It does. We make counters as pretty as we can. I hope you guys are going to be as happy as I am with the final print quality and everything. This is a different experience, but it's amazing. It's amazing so far. I'm overwhelmed, actually. So
yeah, this is the chocolate and peanut butter of gaming, because I personally think the board looks really good. But the board that looks really good just looks like a dog that don't hunt. You got to have a rule system that goes with it to have a really fun gaming experience, and that's what we had when we were playing the experience. And the more we did it, the more we liked it, and the more we wanted to do it. And we ended up 1 map, 2 maps, 11 maps.
What he didn't say was that as they were doing this process, he built one 3D map for one scenario, and then he built a second, and in the end, he built all the maps from the basic game for the standard game. So suddenly he's like, well, this is the Defensive Frankfurt expansion. So it's effectively 8 maps, but all together in one specific configuration. And wow, David, do you have any pictures of this?
Yeah, I just figured to let you guys explain it. We also have some live video.
Oh yeah. Are you doing a live video?
Yeah, we can't see the screen, so we're just kind of
we can't see the screen. We're just going
I only have one camera on now, so it keeps the speed up. But I have pictures, I think, right here, right? Right. The other right here. Hold on. Here's a video that Mark sent up to us. I'm going to take at the cameras now that are videoing, so I can just use one main picture here. So hold on. And this is just to give you hopefully a scale of what Mark and his team did. So hold on. See, this is it.
That's insane.
Oh,
hold on. That's not even the video. Hold on. I got to find the video shot.
was that you, Mo?
No, that's me, Dan.
Oh, it's you, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Keith, how much bigger is that? Well, I can't call it a map, but how much bigger is that thing on the table compared to the thing I stole from David Heath?
For those who don't know, I gifted Dan the vinyl map that was made for WBC that is of this same area, and I'm looking at it over there. It is a quarter the size of this map.
Yeah. Oh my God.
4 of them, 2 by 2, and
that's insane.
It's like I said, I'm overwhelmed. And playing on it is like, wow, I could actually use my line of sight laser and really reach something.
And it must really feel good to you, Keith and Jeff, to see Mark.
Well, I am thrilled that the live stream looks sharp.
Yeah, me too.
Impressive.
It looked good.
Because that was
Give it, and it does look kind of shrimpy in comparison to
But it is
layout.
ultimately more transportable than Mark's.
Yes, when we did that banner around, it took about 30 seconds.
Right, right.
And that included unboxing it.
Right.
That was 4.5 hours
To set up the
to
map.
set up the map. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, I have a question for you. By the way, my name is Dan. Nice to meet you.
I've seen you on just about every podcast they've done.
There we go.
He's got that sexy hat on again too. So
I'm going to ask you the obvious question, okay?
Mhm.
First of all, how long did it take you to create something like that?
Oh, that's a good question. I downloaded and started the first map in February. And then I started the Defense of Frankfurt in May. And originally, how this kind of came about is I sent Keith an email and I said, how many, we want to do a launch party because originally the game was going to launch in July.
Right.
And so we said, I want to do a launch party locally. And I'm just curious how many players can support because I want to invite some players. And we're just going to have and we want to play the Defense of Frankfurt. And then he said, well, why are you asking? And I said, well, this is what we're going to do. And he made the comment, I'd like to play in that. And he said, do you think you can have it done by July? And I said, oh, sure. Yeah, not so much. So I actually started working on this in May. And he, Keith graciously sent me some PDFs of the map so I could get working on it because I was going through and looking at all your marketing material and taking screenshots and trying. You can't build maps like that.
Right.
He sent me the copy, so I started working on it, and I finished 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, kudos, Mark? Kudos.
Thank you.
One little thing you should know, Dan, is that the man has 3D printers. This is all 3D printed.
Yes, everybody.
And then, hand flocked, its miniatures work. So it's a modular system. Just like we have geomorphic maps, these are geomorphic maps. And I just learned today they're geomorphic within themselves because it's a much bigger map. So the sections are smaller, but you can shift around those sections in individual maps. So it's actually much more versatile if you're a miniatures guy. But it's all 3D printed, every tile, every hex tile. And it's a system that fits together in these groups. There's like a frame that fits on, is that right?
Yeah, there's a frame that goes under it, and then you clip the hexes on top. Matter of fact, I asked Keith, okay, we made some modifications. There's a feature on the map that we'll make some slight changes to. He said, sure. So we came in this morning, popped out the hexes, came in, and matter of fact, as soon as he comes in, this map is not the same.
Yeah, I can't believe you picked that up.
And I was impressed. I'm like, okay, this man knows the map.
Yeah.
Because we changed 4 hexes out of there's 2,666 hexes
didn't
on
know
that table, and we changed 4 of them, and he spotted it within 5 minutes. Which is a little creepy.
Yeah, talk about an eye for line of sight.
Hey, I've used that line of sight.
Right. Once he's used the line of sight, it's burned into his brain.
Now, Mark, without these are obvious questions, okay?
Sure.
Without man hours, what does that cost?
The material cost is about $80 a board, and I say about because 3D printing in and of itself, especially when you're new to it like I am, is it's kind of a hit or miss. If you were 100% efficient and every print worked every single time, you could get that down. But mine averaged out because I had failed prints. I had times I just didn't know what I was doing. So the material cost worked out for that set about $80 a board.
So $80, and it's 8 boards.
How many boards?
8.
That's 8.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was the material
He's
cost.
like,
And
I can see it. Dan's laughing his head off already. I can tell now. He's like, what are you talking about?
That's like $1,000, man.
I tell him we are overwhelmed with their generosity here. It's like,
I mean,
because it came to us with this project. We didn't solicit this project.
I think he's now guaranteeing that my wife can never see this podcast.
Sorry.
I could have been famous at my own house. Right then.
I'm sorry. We can edit this later.
That's
Can't
right.
we? We'll fix it in post.
I don't think I don't think David can get it.
Trust me, she knows.
But as far as 3D printing material, I mean, my own experience with 3D printing is $80 for a good chunk of plastic like that is actually not bad. But having 8 of them, then it starts to really.
Well, I understand this. You've got to remember, I was a noob, so I had board failures. I had a whole bunch of stuff that went wrong. So that's how much I paid in plastic. You would not get, not now.
You're not anymore. That's for
But
sure.
when I first started, I was not very efficient at all when I first started this. However, the last boards I was doing them in a week.
I have a question. How many individual hex tile pieces are on that map?
2006.
Oh, it's 2006. Oh, that's the number there. See, I told you the number.
Now, Mark, are you? You know, this is worthy of taking something like this on tour. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I hope so.
You know, and I mean, you need a rock band behind that with shows and yeah.
I know a guy.
Well, Dan, one of the things we brought you on the show for was for your duet, your song tonight.
What?
You're singing, aren't you?
With Jeff, yeah, I'm singing with Jeff.
Okay, I condone.
In the World War 85 blues.
And I really want to reiterate this. I'm really tired. We're going on a lot of sleep. This works because of it's a combination of the system and the game, the terrain. It really does. For the experience that we're having today, which I've been having a blast personally, not everything works like this. I don't think every game converts to miniatures this way.
No,
this game just plugs right into miniatures. We haven't changed a single rule. The only thing we've done is change some markers to make them 3D.
Right.
Yeah, but we haven't changed a single rule. We're playing it straight out, no rulers, straight out of the rule book.
Mark,
Mhm.
what's the reason why you chose that game system over another game system? Did David throw cash at you or something?
No,
Wait. See, the board throwing cash at us.
Yeah, it's I make the Iran payment look like nothing now. See?
This game scratches an itch. I like operational game. I like platoon level games. I used to play, command decision and those types of miniature games because I like the operational. Don't get me wrong, tactical and skirmish is fun, but I really like the maneuver. One of the things we were talking about earlier watching this, we've got the Russians attacking. So we have NATO attacking over here, and then we had a little Russian counterattack forming that got Aardvark
Court of crushed.
right, and then we've got the infantry flanked over here. They're now being flanked themselves, and so you've got all this stuff going on in all those parts of the board, and it feels like a battle. It doesn't feel like a game. It really feels like a battle because we've got 3 or 4 commanders on this side, and these guys are accomplishing their piece of the overall plan. And I'll be honest with you, it's as much of an awesome experience to me as anything else, and it feels like we're in a battle.
The word that kept coming up before we were starting, when people were looking at the setup, looking at the scenario, like this is going to be swirly, like everything's swirling around. I like to use the revolving doors. It's like multiple revolving doors, but swirly where it's like everything, the battle swirls one way and there, and you have to double back in places you don't expect to double. Most games you don't expect to double back at all. Here it's like, I was supposed to go forward. Do I go left? Do I come back around his rear because I have the opportunity? And you can sometimes you fight those urges. Yeah. Right. But I kind of I think we're it's been a great experience for me. But of course my opinion actually doesn't count so much since I've had more experience than anybody else. I'm just glad everybody else seems to be having a good time.
Oh, well, that's
great. Sort of the point.
The flanking maneuver got flanked, and then the Aardvark dealt with that. And it was a lot of fun.
So,
And we're not done. We're going to start again in the morning.
right.
And incidentally, in the morning we have our own ability to podcast here, and so we've got a camera over the table looking straight down. And I think we sent David. I think we sent you a couple of example shots from that. And then we have a side camera. And when we get started in the morning, we're going to have breakfast first thing, and then as soon as we get started, we'll kick those on, and we'll just let them run all day. And we're not going to pay a lot of attention to them, so we won't be talking to them or anything else. But you'll be able to see the camera you'll be able to see the table and the game going on from multiple angles. Starting tomorrow morning, we're going to run it, till we're done tomorrow night.
Big Brother is watching us.
Mark, I have something else here. This is a serious, very serious question.
Uh-oh.
He's married. Dan, he's married.
Now, this is this map discriminatory?
Okay, that's a white.
Not his map. No, that's on this side.
It's on.
Now, hold on. And the reason why I say that is that I'm 5'4". Can I reach over and choose the miniature?
I'd bring a step stool with you.
No. Yeah, I can tell you one of the concerns that we had when we were before we came in and set it up is whether or not we're going to be able to maneuver and fight in the middle. 5'4" might have a bit of an issue, but
Okay.
so far everyone here has not had a problem maneuvering in the center. Now
I don't care about anybody there, but my lawyer will be in touch with you, okay?
That's right. That's right. My last name is Tracton.
Don't read my badge. It's like, wait. Is he going to play for you? How tall is he?
Yeah, we'll put you on a stool, man. Not a problem.
No, it's actually one thing I respect because I was concerned about it myself is like, yeah, you can reach the middle. So far we're not in the middle yet, but we got pretty far into the
and I set the whole thing up, and not only you understand, I have my own obstacles to reaching the middle, and I set the whole thing up. I didn't have any problem at all.
Why aren't you here, Dan? Why aren't you here?
Because I'm here.
Someone has to hold down the fort.
Right, I suppose. It just the experience has been very, very incredible with the detailed work on this. I can only compliment Mark again and again, and I've been doing it for like whatever number of hours we've been here. But we do have some pictures you guys have had, and I don't know. Like I said, do you have pictures of the overall map? Have you shown those?
I'm going to show them in a minute. I just wanted to get the basics in there, but hold on, let me get those up and running for you guys. Hold on.
But if you can get the live video on the board itself and get sort of the sweep on it.
Devin's camera's up, and so is the mobile cam.
Okay.
So the mobile cam, which if you hold on, I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit so you can see. No, that's not it. There we go.
You can give me direction.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
David, you can give the mobile camera directions. He can hear
Here's
you.
somebody over there. Yeah.
So if you want to go left, right, whatever.
Well, this is an angle shot of it, which I think really shows you how big it is.
It's insane.
Yeah, and
Hang on, let me put myself in there for scale. Hi.
Oh, that's insane.
So so as far as reaching for the middle, I can reach the middle here. This is like the middle. I can give you a quick tour if you want. We've got
Go ahead. Yes, please.
so we've got a one Soviet is it T-80?
T-80.
T-80 battalion coming on here. We have another Soviet T-80 battalion here. These are the reinforcements. This is a Soviet air assault battalion in Mi-8s, and they're coming this way. There's a company of U.S. infantry here who is like watching them come. And then there's there's more U.S. infantry here. This is the Soviet infestation of motorized infantry. They're holding this bridgehead. Oh, infestation. On the NATO side, we're not to say infestation. You want to do the narrative? You can change. No, that's cool.
Soviet troops grimly holding on to the liberated territories.
This was the concentration of tanks that basically got hit by an F-111 close air support strike, which really got 2/3 of them. This is the remains of them and some T6.
T-80. That's a T-80 company.
It's a T-80, kind of couple of tunes there. And then this was my M1 counterattack that took out the rest of the guys in there. All those are T-64s. Basically, it's a NATO. There's two companies of M1s here. There's two companies of M1s over there. There's a Bradley company here with infantry that just deployed. Got some Western left over from the previous battle. That's this. And it's sort of a situation right now. Soviet guys holding the bridge. Oh yeah, there's a Soviet gun line. This is kind of cool. In the middle of these two.
Actual guns. Actual guns. Not missile systems. Actual guns. Because you can see, I'm not sure what the detail is, but you can see that there's this rich depth to the board, and it's all codified to World War 85 terrain effects chart.
The miniatures are amazing that Mark did. We color coded them so they match, formations. Did you get a close-up shot on these helicopters though? This is the, like I said, this is a Soviet air assault.
I think it's gonna work best if I come over
here. Yeah, come on over here.
Guys.
So, and this is one of the new things actually for this. If there's an air assault or a paratroop company or battalion available, what we try to do is provide you the transport helicopters to use them air mobilely. Typically, there's also like trucks if you want to use them on ground. Sometimes there's APCs. It depends on the module as we go down the line. But we all kind of get a kick out of bringing an entire airborne battalion by helicopter. They're flying Napa Earth, by the way. So they're like, tipping off the ground, whatever it is. That's sort of what we have here. I mean, you can see like the hills, the detail in the woods. One of the brilliant things that he did was, if you need to get into the woods, you simply pull that off, and now you can put your units in there, and you know it's a wood because it's a grade tile. Similar thing with the cities. You can see it has a city base. So you don't have to, you're not obstructed by the terrain, and then just put it right back on or take it off as you want. Bridges are sort of that way too. This is just kind of cool thing. If the bridge blows, just take it off. All right. Anybody else want to add to this?
Are you doing?
I mean, that's well thought of.
Yeah, Mark did a fantastic job.
I would like to point out that Keith mentioned earlier that Mark had multiple copies or multiple 3D printers, but he didn't exactly specify how many 3D printers. Mark, expand on that and inform everybody how many 3D printers it took you 6 months to print this with.
I started with 1, brought it to 2, and then went to 4. So right now I have 4. So it essentially,
I miss my 3D printer.
Essentially, it's 1 hour per hex through a 3D printer.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. It's not a fast process.
Believe, Dan, believe.
And so what was happening is it's 264 hours per map, and I with 1 3D printer, that's just wasn't. You think the guy, or you think the community waiting on the shipping containers is bad? You got to print 1 hour for 1 board for 264 hours. Is it done yet? That was not working.
Is it soup yet?
So anyway, the last one, 44, I did them in order. So 44 took 66 hours to print because there was 4. There were 4 printers going. So that made the process. But if I didn't expand the number of printers, we wouldn't be here right now because it wouldn't have been done.
Right, but that doesn't include the time to flock all these.
No, that's
paint
just
all
printing.
these.
That's just turning plastic into board.
Now, Mark, are you first of all to put something like this down in your house? You need a dedicated big room for it, obviously. And is this game is what you've done? Will this be for sale, and will you do other games like maybe other scenarios like Battle of the Bulge or something?
Potentially on all of the above. I bought when the Lock and Load Publishing did their sale. I bought all of the Nations at War because I would love to do some, you're right now fighting with the Germans, but when I was an American commander in World War II, the only good Germans dead Germany. You can make lots of good Germany. I grew up on World War II, and so and the system is essentially the same. So I definitely would like to dabble into that, but I'm not sure because I really don't know because I'd rather do one thing really well than do a lot of things kind of halfway. And so I'm having to think about whether or not I want to branch out into other games or just kind of do this one. Because you got 7 more models I got to get ready for. And you said they were the only one. Yeah. So I can't answer that, but nothing's out of the realm of possibility.
And why alternative history as something like like I said, Battle of the Bulge or the Invasion of Normandy?
Well, I grew up a cup of tea on World War II, played, all the Grognard stuff, World War, squad leader, tactics too, etc. But I was actually in the Army in '85. So, I wore that uniform in practice for this fight. So it has, and a lot of the veterans are like that, it's this kind of, it has a what if.
I got it.
And I'll be honest with you, I read Red Storm Rising like just about everybody else. I read Red Storm Rising, and the next day I was at the miniature place buying miniatures. So at the time, we were playing this, and so it's always been a little bit of an itch, and this definitely scratches it. And now I like board games, okay, and I was playing the board game, and I thought, man, this would make a really good miniatures game, and I was right. I mean, clearly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's just a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's I know David jumped in on with the cards, the data cards that are included with the expansion, and that sort of kick-started this thing. And then Mark took this and went. So I don't think any of us anticipated that there would be so much appeal to the miniature side. Because I'm sorry, the board game is still beautiful as far as I'm concerned. That's right. I know. And more compact.
But one thing that convinced me to pull the trigger was your data cards.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I mean, that was a great Kickstarter because I had not backed it until whenever I went through and watched all the videos and stuff. I came over. It was right there at the data cards for miniatures, and that really convinced me to pull the trigger and go. And because I knew at some point you guys were at least thinking about the miniatures. So this wasn't going to something that you would just publish, and then if we did the miniatures, things would be on our own. And support's important, and because you had the miniatures and the Kickstarter, I knew that it was at least on your mind.
Right.
And then we ran with it. And listen, we haven't changed a single rule. We're playing it straight out of the box.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Does this give you an idea for another business plan of something?
I got lots of plans, little time.
Because there's going to be one guy in Germany that's going to buy that for like 10 grand. You know that.
Yeah, it would probably be me.
Plus the plane ticket to get to Germany to buy it.
I got to do it. Everyone knows it's me.
Right.
Mark, that's astonishing. I'm blown away.
Thank you.
Here's one of the data cards. It may not be the final one that's in the game because I'm just trying to grab it really fast to show you. That's an Colonel, I guess, a leader. And here's a Soviet T-80 coming. So hold on, guys.
Yeah, it's a U.S. coming. Oh,
Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Williamson.
there's the Soviet T-80s.
So that those are the data cards that came in. We did it again, so you can play with miniatures. They can be adjusted. There's a cost on each units if you're building one from a solitaire game, or sorry, not sorry, a generate your own battle game. It's there as well. Okay, and if you didn't do the Kickstarter, it does come in the expansion pack. Am I not right, Keith?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, what else do we have here?
Do you have a picture of that first prototype board?
3D or do you mean the game board?
The 3D.
I got this one here, if this is what you're talking about.
Tony's
Yeah, that's the one he's talking about. Yeah.
That was the at that time I didn't have a 3D printer, but that's the one that convinced me that this would work. We played it on the board game and then we put it on HeroScape.
Oh yeah,
You kind of saw.
Yeah, I have a ton of HeroScape too.
Yeah, we just kind of saw how it was going to look, and then we played the game and found that with no modifications of the rules, it just worked. And so at that point, that convinced us to go,
Very
full
cool.
Monty.
Very cool. All right, Dan, what other questions you got? Come on, you're hot.
Well, hey, I got a question for you. Someone's asking, what 3D printer did you use to make those?
Started with an Ender 3, was going to buy another Ender 3, but the Ender 5s went on sale. It's basically the same printer with a different frame. The first time the Ender 3 I bought was like $250. And now, matter of fact, now they're going for like $180. And so the first two printers I bought. Now, on the second two printers, I kind of got lucky because the company that is kind of sponsoring or hosting us is Valis Corp, and they have some devices that they needed 3D printing, but the printers that I have won't print the right material.
Right.
So the CEO kind of saw what we're doing. He said, "Hey, listen, I've got some stuff that we're having to buy retail, and it's very expensive when we break a lot of them. Is this something you guys could do that you could 3D print for me?" And I said, "Sure, but my printers won't do it." He said, "Well, what kind of printers do you need?" I was like, "Oh." Now we're talking. And so the second two printers that I got will print the type of material that he needs. So the second two printers were actually sponsored in return for I'm going to be printing stuff for them.
Oh, okay.
And so it's going to end up saving them quite a bit of money in the long
It's a
run.
win-win.
It's a win-win-win
Yeah.
because it just so happens
By the way.
some of these Texas might have gone through those. Just saying.
Mark, are you a HeroClix fan?
No, sir.
It's funny because there was a game that I bought my son 25, 30 years ago. Actually, no, he's 24, so how the hell can I do that? Probably 20 years ago, and it was called HeroClix. and it
Yeah.
looks very much like your configuration of hexes.
You're talking HeroScape.
It's HeroScape, and that was those HeroScape.
Yeah, that was the picture of that first map there. HeroScape is big in my house too. We still have the
I still have a
and
bunch
the
of
pieces.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them,
Right.
and I thought, and I used them. And I used them to,
Yeah.
to the prototype.
Yeah.
The
I don't think I have enough to make this map.
No.
when I bought them, they had just gone out of business. I picked them up for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
They're not pennies on the dollars anymore.
No.
If I tried to do this with that, it would be a considerable expense. So I converted, and matter of fact, I found these tiles trying to find something that would 3D print and work with HeroScape, and I found these tiles, and they're just so much better. So I just converted them. Matter of fact, that map just got tossed. I threw it in the trash.
Oh wow!
I've printed map 2 3 times.
It's a little
Well, no, not print. I've done it 3 times.
Right.
I did it once in HeroScape, once a year, and then what ended up happening is as we played it and set up on the dining room table, we did one map. Then we found that there's some logistical issues when you go from one map to 2 maps. And some of my battle reports, you could see the progression. Like the streams here are all painted on.
Yeah.
But in the battle reports, they were actually little 3D printed. You had to set them up every time, which was fine when we set them up once.
Right.
But my wife comes in and say, I need my dining room next weekend. So you got to pack all this stuff and then lay it back out. But when we packed everything up, it was okay. But when we laid out 3 maps to do the Rhine,
Right.
and we had to go through and set up hex by hex all those streams. Not a fan. So at that point, we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we've got to redo the streams on this. So we went through and reconfigured so that they're actually painted on, instead of just put it. So it's gone through a couple of iterations, and every time we deploy it and we play it with a group of people, we learn more about it. Like we even learned some stuff on this one about things that we can kind of tweak to it and make it a little better. When we went to NashCon, we had a great response. But one of the things that we learned from NashCon is, we need these little side tables, and we need this, and we need to number all the cities, because it's great when you pull apart, when you go to pack everything up instead of things. So we're constantly learning and developing and tweaking this little system here.
Are there any plans on this being brought over to WBC 2020?
Haven't even thought that far back. Right, I can tell you right now, since May, my focus has been on this day, this Contact Atlanta, and I haven't had a lot of free time to even think about anything else. I was concerned I wouldn't get it done in time. Once we picked the date, it was trying to bar the door.
Right.
So the next thing I'm going to do is get some sleep, and then I'll start thinking about what other things.
Tomorrow will bring.
I don't know if it's World War II or getting ready, because I did a prototype river. I've got a prototype Rhine, and then sex.
Not to let you secrets out of the bag, but there's a whole parachute version coming.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, David.
I said Jeff has a whole parachute invasion coming.
Yeah.
So, if you feel like you need another project, you should talk to Jeff. WB.
Yeah, I've already got an airfield. Though we didn't deploy it, but I have it here. I can show you. We set it up. So we got an airfield. I read Brad Smith's book. That first one. I don't remember the name of it, but it's one where the attack on Copenhagen, they did a marine attack and an airborne attack on the airfield.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet.
Oh, it's it's good, man. It lit the fire. So I did the airfield and I started on the harbor, because if you look, and then I went in and I did a Google map of Copenhagen, because the airfield and the harbor, you could get them on. You can get them on this map. They're right next to each other.
Right, exactly. That airfield.
So I did the airfield. Matter of fact, all the buildings on the airfield map are actually on Copenhagen. I just went down and took screenshots and then 3D printed the buildings.
Yeah.
Now the airfield changes. The airfield itself in Copenhagen is actually 6 boards long. So I'm not doing that to scale. Yeah. But so we started the harbor, started the airfield, and then we did a prototype river. So there's a lot of flexibility with this. So, and I definitely want to do some. I definitely want to talk about that airborne.
Right, hold on, guys. We're going to take a break for a second. Hold on.
Okay.
On the air with Lock and Load Publishing. We'll be right back after this message.
Hey YouTube, welcome to Convoy of Hope. We're a humanitarian organization based right here in the middle of America. But every day we're traveling the world, meeting and helping amazing people. This is where you can find their stories. Around the world, we feed kids, empower families, and bring hope to disaster survivors, and we want you to be a part of it. Get involved with making the world a better and more hopeful place by subscribing and sharing with your friends.
All right, we're back and we lost Dan. There we go. Okay. Well, all right, here's a picture of the map, guys. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm throwing it up. This is a photograph that Mark sent me, and it's just a picture of the map, but you can basically see the rivers in it, the different buildings, hill level, very nicely done. And if Mark, when I go through these, if you want to mention anything about any of these pictures, just let me know.
Let me go look.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on here. Okay, looks like we are looking. Let me get oriented here. That looks like we're looking from this is the direction of the Soviet attack, and the Soviets are going southeast, I think, or southwest. Sorry, southwest.
Yep.
So this is looking at the map from the southwest. So this is coming in from the northeast corner of board 38. So board 38.
All right. Here's another one.
That is the town on board 43, I think.
That's insane.
And you know, the question that was asked earlier, I actually never saw the whole map because I don't have room to set it up. So I did them one map at a time. I didn't see the whole map put together until this week.
He told me that. I nearly fell out of my chair. I was like,
That's insane.
Yeah, I did one map at a time. I don't have room.
Isn't that like the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
Who the hell was that?
I don't know.
There's another picture of the town, I believe.
That's crazy, man.
That's actually Frankfurt. You can see the little church on the hill. Now the church on the hill is 3D printed. If you look just to the left, you see the grain silos and the barn. That's 3D printed. Everything else is Monopoly houses.
I think I can see Marshall waving at me.
Mark Marshall, for those who don't know, is our counter and map artist for the game, who does incredible work.
And he's in Germany.
He's in Germany.
He's in Bonn.
Not a surprise.
Here's another picture. Now look at the bridges too.
Yes, so the bridges are 3D printed. They and we set, like I said, we set them up so that if you blow them, they can pull out. We didn't want to blow them with rigid markers, so we decided to make them separate. And if you blow them up, you pick them up.
Nice. All right. There's another image.
Yeah, I'm not sure the name of that town. It's the one right there. I know I don't remember the name. I can't pronounce it. Steinbach or
Steinbach.
Steinbach. That's one of the objectives we're pushing toward right now. But there's a couple of battalions of TAs that might have a problem with that.
Might have a word to say about
they
that.
might have something to say about that. But.
All right. Look at that.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
This is the map that made me think maybe I bit off a little more than I could chew, because this is a lot of woods. This is board 37. So this is the northwest part of the map, so 37. And Keith was kind enough to send me a photo of the map it came from. So coming to the northwest off of this map, it actually goes up into a mountain. So what you see high ground coming in, and there's just a lot of woods there. And that was an interesting map to do, because that's a lot of lichen.
That's a lot of lichen.
A lot of foliage clumps.
I swear I could see mushrooms.
Hey, Mark, looking at this picture, how did you put, like, if the tanks go into the woods, how would you fit the tanks on it? Just on top of the woods?
Yeah, Aaron, we'll show you.
You want to go live for that?
Yeah,
live
Hold on.
I put this on a chart here.
If Devin,
Devin, can you bring up Devin?
I woke Devin's camera up. There you go.
All right, I'll show you over there.
All right, so basically, on the camera here. So basically, this stuff picks up. and that tile is gray, so you know it's a woods. And you just put the unit there, and then when the unit moves out, you just put it back and maintain.
Look at that. Look at that.
And the same thing works for town. We have town view there. So notice there's the 3 things here underneath of the 3 things there.
And then here we have our MTU 55s, which are very cool.
They're bridging units.
And then when you decide to deploy them, they turn into that.
Nice.
And the miniatures are 3D printed also?
No, so those are Odds All Army from Pico.
Okay. What's the scale?
The 3mm or 1:600.
Okay.
Oh, you could do this in 1/25 with the same size. What I really like when I play platoon games is I wanted to be obvious that when you look at a unit, that it was not a single stand or it wasn't a single tank. It needs to look like a platoon. Yeah. And I think it's part of the immersion that I'm a battalion commander. I'm pushing companies around, and those companies are made up of platoons of multiple vehicles.
Right.
Because it kind of helps lock the game into what's going on. This is not one tank rolling for penetration.
Right.
This is a platoon of several vehicles firing for effect on another platoon. And I think the scale of the model is a 3mm for me. And here's my done 100, being used to playing with small things, right? So the scale of 3mm, multiple tanks per hex. Now I've seen guys do 1-to-1 where they have a platoon stand that actually has 4 tanks. That actually doesn't work here because you can't fit enough. You
can't fit enough.
The thing about it is you could put every hex will hold enough that you meet the stacking requirements without stacking units on top of it. So the 3/4 inch stands and the 1 3/4 inch.
Right. So these hexes are much bigger than the
they are, which is why the
map
board is so big, because we don't want units stacked on units. So if a hex holds 2 platoons and a headquarters and 2 support weapons, I had to be able to get 2 platoons, a headquarters, and 2 support weapons inside a hex and have them not stacked.
And there's actually a little subtle thing in the board game, which that supports, your concept is basically the same as my concept, where these are groups of vehicles. In the board game, there used to be wreck markers. They're not wreck markers, they're Rex markers. Right. Because when you wreck a platoon, you're wrecking multiple vehicles. So it's a little thing, it's more for me, but I think it works. So that's sort of the sensibility we're bringing to this.
Now, Keith, the stacking in World of War, what's the stacking limit?
2 units, but you can have an HQ with it. You can have a support weapon or 2, depending on what you have, and then a couple of markers. So, a big stack's going to be maybe 8 actual physical counters, but that's it. And they're big markers in big hexes. So it's not it's not burdensome. It's not a high unit density game, even when you get a little tight sometimes. But it's not like what am I thinking of? 1914, where you have a stack of 20 units or something like that. It's really a relatively low counter density game because the stacking limit is officially 2 units, 2 combat units.
Is that Devin doing the camera work?
It is.
It is.
And he's
awesome camera work, Devin.
Thank you.
Fine work. Fine work.
I'm blown away. Look, man, I was never into miniatures, and looking at this right now, because I look at Todd's channel, the itinerant hobbyist, once in a while, and he's into miniatures. And I'm like, yeah. Looking at this, I'm blown away, man.
Well, I invited Todd on the show, and I sent him an email, see if he responds. I know he's on. He was on the feed, so see if he jumps in later.
Todd, what's the matter with you? Come on.
That's what I said, Todd. Come on, buddy.
But as a hybrid of board game rules and miniatures portrayal, I'm completely blown away.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I was looking at the Little Wars channel, and they had the Gettysburg.
Oh, I saw that. That was really cool.
And I'm taken by this way more for some reason.
That was my comment. Is it Gettysburg?
No. I mean, the American Civil War, fantastic, but I don't know, man. Mark, you did such an amazing the buildings, man. I don't know. I'm like a little girl here. I'm gushing.
I appreciate it.
I bet you that's not the first time you've said that.
Of course, now you know why I really did this. My work here is done.
Right. Yeah, well, I just found out, as you just said it here, that you 3D printed the church. I'm like, I can see it from here, in profile. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
So Keith and Jeff, what did you think when you first came in and saw that?
So once I picked my jaw up off the floor,
They took the breath away about it.
Oh man!
The work, you could obviously see the amount of work
the
involved.
craftsmanship is incredible.
I'm like Dan. Miniature's not my thing only because I know ahead of time I don't have the thinking skills to find the money or and the will for unlike board games. A lot more prep work involved in miniatures, and then you can see Mark's dedication.
Mark, I'm a composer. Right?
I fixed it. I turned off his mic.
What was your question again?
I didn't hear
Yeah. And like Keith and Jeff, they're the composers, and all of a sudden you're the conductor with the orchestra, and you brought it to life. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm a little girl here.
Well, it was the thing. Like I said, I want to be clear. This doesn't work with every game system.
Yeah.
This is hands and gloves. It's chocolate. Fat guys are always going to make candy jokes, but it's chocolate and peanut butter. It's a terrain system and a rule set that works very well together. And we've had a lot of fun playing. And I tell you, I haven't had as much fun playing a game at this time. Because Devin, he's all nice on
the outside. He's ruthless. This ruthless Russian commander.
Is he?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm innocent.
Okay. So here I am trying to make decisions, and I'm hearing 3 different pieces of advice, and they're all coming from the Russians. And Devin's leading the pack, and I'm hearing Russian voices in my head. He's like, "Don't move there." Like,
so Devin plays to win, eh? He doesn't play for fun.
He's a retired Navy man. Of course, he doesn't play for fun. Come on, it's obviously.
I don't know how good my advice is, but I have a lot of fun giving it.
It's all right. He's holding his own.
I'm sure, Devin, you have a lot of fun. You have a lot of fun.
Well, I do.
I know that.
Hey, Mark, is the rest of your team around you that you can have them jump in the camera and just say hi and introduce themselves?
Come on over.
Come on the chair. Everybody can sit in the chair and be seen.
Hello.
You guys, just introduce yourselves and tell us, what did Mark pay you to con you into doing this?
Well, actually, I'm Tony, so I'm Mark's brother. Didn't have to pay me a dime. I was happy to do it.
So Tony and Mark would do like a lot of play testing, and they'd hammer on the scenarios. And it's like, because he'd say, I didn't meet Tony till today. I didn't even know what he looked like. It's like, okay. But they really hammered on it. So they played the starter game, which was like 10 or 12 times.
Yeah, we played it
a lot.
I'm Kevin Lure. I've known Mark for, what has it been, 20 years now?
A while, yeah.
Yeah. Started off working for him way back in the day. Just we're friends. When he talked to Will, the CEO here at Vallis, and got the room, they needed on-site staff, and it was a tough conversation. There was some, please don't throw me in the fire cracks. So I jumped on the grenade when they're like, yeah, we have to have somebody be here on Saturday and stuff. But I was like, I'll take that hit.
We had to teach him how to play the game Tuesday while he was at work. So
yes, and currently I'm now furiously driving my Abrams company up the Eastern flank, trying to get ahead of the Russians. Hopefully I can roll up that gun line here in the next turn or two, but we'll find out.
Right.
Time will tell.
We'll be waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you are.
you will.
I'm Chris. I met Mark through Facebook because of this group. I backed this Kickstarter. I think even before the first stretch goal unlocked. I saw this, and this was definitely the game that I wanted to play. And playing on Mark's map is a great first impression for us.
Spoiled for life.
Yeah. We've been lucky enough that since Devin brought the playtest stuff, almost the production stuff, we've been able to see that, and that's been really nice. But no, this is gonna be a good weekend.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a good
Once you get started.
Guys, let us all applaud you right now and thank you for your efforts, and with Mark and everybody else again.
Hold on. There's a man there with a Boston jersey.
Yes.
Now, it's. Did you know I was going to be on the show?
If I didn't, is it just an added bonus to me right now?
I did send the flyers out, Dan. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. I remember, I used to actually be a Boston fan, but I'm a Habs fan, so you know what I'm saying. And I remember the Rat.
The Rat. I don't.
So you're younger than I. What about Ken Linsman?
I'm 48, but I don't remember these people.
I remember Ken Linsman.
It's okay, there, young boy.
Oh, this guy with the hat. All right, let's go.
Nice hat, Dan.
So basically, have you guys started playing yet as of today?
Oh yeah,
Yes, we have.
We're hip deep. We're on turn 2.
Middle of turn 2.
Well, we literally took hours kibitzing and like talking about it and talking about game concepts and so it was hours basically. And we knew it was going to happen. We're trying to take a nice casual pace. Once we got rolling, though, it started going really fast.
Yeah, it did.
I just want to let you guys know, don't let Keith give you that crap that he's the designer. He can't always lose. Kick his butt, kick his butt.
We couldn't have already misremembered 2 rules.
How did you,
I got 1 win.
how did you guys read the rules at all, the 3 of you?
I did. I mean, I read as much as I could. I watched a lot of Gippy's podcast.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
And watched a lot of those and watched some Mark's battle reports. Try to get through that. But it's more fun, obviously, playing with the group and then playing as the team like we are has been a blast.
Yeah.
It's just one-on-one. It's kind of fun, but when you get to actually, huddle up and come up with
group mind.
and come up with some stuff, that's been the funnest part of the day so far. So,
and us Soviets have been collective in our decisions.
We have.
What a surprise.
Yeah, and the Americans have been democratic. When we were calling in the aardvark strike, we held a vote, and unfortunately my suggestion was downvoted, but sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
We did pay off, though. I mean,
it was beautiful. We gutted that
F-1
forming
cluster
Russian
bombs
tank
is like,
cluster.
We were rooting for you because we wanted you to hit the gun because that would have been great. Didn't take our advice.
Hey guys, how big of a box do you think that would need to put all the maps and pieces in?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How big of a box do you think that would require to put all that stuff in a box or 2?
Right now, I have each box stored in a party mail large. So it's the 12 by 12 by 12. Now, it doesn't fill it all the way up, but from an organizational standpoint, I like having each map in a separate box. So I can pull off the one box, open up the map up, and toss it to the side. You could, depending on the map and the elevation, because the more elevations a map has, the more tiles it takes up more space. But so far none of them have been to the point where they would even fill up the large. Yeah, I think Devin's bringing one right here. It's right here.
There you go.
Yes.
Turn it up. Yeah, there you go.
One map will put that a little lower.
A little lower. Lower. There you go.
There you go.
Here, I'll hold it like this. I know it's in there.
Yeah.
So,
You get one of those little folding wagons, and we pull up the pickup truck, build up the wagons, roll them in. And I mean, logistically, we're still working on a system, but I think that part we got down.
now the supporting boards underneath, there's a couple of boards underneath also break apart, but not quite so small.
Right, they do.
Yeah.
How do you protect all the terrain, like with the forest and the city?
Yeah, they have a separate case they go into.
He has a Benson
we
box.
built this thing from the ground up to be transportable. I wanted to do some conventions locally.
Sure.
We've got NashCon, we've got Rapier down in Jacksonville, and then my buddies here too. So we knew from the very beginning that building this, we need to be able to break down and set up and transport very well, because I don't have room to set this up.
No.
So I wanted to come like this, come here, set it up, play it, and then break it down and be able to move on.
And then what happens to it? Like, is there going to be a permanent setup, or is it going to be boxed?
No, we're going to box it back into those. We're going to box it back into those party mailboxes, and then it'll go and sit in my bonus room until the next time we're going to go play. I think the next thing I'm personally going to do is I'm going to go down to Rapier in Jacksonville, and I think it's MLK Day. January, February, something like that.
Lol.
Yeah. Say something, Kevin. Say something.
Well, I think we kind of got off track. He's asking. I personally didn't back the Kickstarter. I didn't even know this game existed until Mark called me. I don't know. You actually came in about 2-3 months ago, and he was like,
yeah.
He was like, when can I have your training room? Because this is normally my training room where I conduct training classes. And he's like, when do you not have any training? Because I need your training room for an event of mine. I was like, well, what kind of event? What do you need to do? And he started explaining the game to me. So we blocked off the calendar. And then he came in this week, and he wanted to see the board set up, and we worked on getting the cameras and everything kind of set up. We've been doing a lot of that over
Printed
most
like
of the
the
week.
banner behind Kevin's head there.
Yeah, getting
Can't
these
see the whole thing.
printed.
It's another 4 feet above his head,
But I had never played the game until Monday night, and he ran me through the starter scenario, which that was a fun experience because, half my battalion was dead just moving onto the board. It was, you move onto the board. Oh, well, I op fire. Oh, look, that's the dead BMP. The infantry's dead. Move on the next EMP. Well, this unit can op fire. And then it was, all right, I'm on the board. Now I can finally do something. Then he's like, Americans go first. Fire into me.
To be fair, that's your first time playing.
So being a first time player, how easy or difficult was it for you?
Oh, it's pretty easy to pick up. I mean, once he explained, the unit cards and what all the stats meant. I mean, you tell me. I think I picked it up pretty quick. It's very quick. It's very simple. There's some of the finer points I'm still working on grasping, like the air support, because mainly that's not in the starter scenario. There's some of the
right.
That was the first time I ever seen a plane come in and do some with the arc strike. Oh yeah, and I was like, wow, that's kind of scary. When their SU 725 25 came on, I thought my tank group up on that plateau by itself was going to get. I thought, oh wow, I'm about to have done to me what just got done to those poor Russians. But fortunately, it went over and smoked the chaparral over on the other side of the map. Mainly because, unfortunately, I haven't been able to activate my other tank company that has the.
Yet.
Well, back to the question, he picked it up
pretty quick.
3 turns in, he was moving his own stuff.
Yeah, Mark didn't have to stop having to tell me. I think until I actually got into doing an actual assault, then he had to stop.
Yeah, we stopped.
Slow down and explain the assault rules to me real quick. It's like, all right, this is how this works when your infantry actually is going to come dig me out of this town.
Right.
So it seems very quick and easy. It's a great game. I'm a little sad I missed the Kickstarter. I don't know. I might be able to apply some pressure on the guys here. Like, so I know there's money involved, but can I get into Kickstarter now?
Well, I know people. We might be able to do something for you guys.
I know a guy.
Just one guy. Has a slight Russian accent.
I've been having a blast, and he's absolutely right. A big part of the fun of this. I do play some other games, and mostly it's just a one-on-one dynamic. The team dynamic of where like we were originally hammering out our attack plan because different people are like, we're like, okay, look, we can't do all. We're like, we got all these objectives. We can't take them all right now.
Right.
So what's the priority? Where are we going to focus? And what's our plan? So we kind of worked all that out. And that's a great experience. Just, everybody has a little bit different take. Somebody's like, oh, I really want to do this. I want to do this. And we're like, no, all right, no, listen, these are our priorities. And this is what we're going to focus on at the start. And then we'll get to some of these as things develop.
So that's too much fun. That's too much fun.
Yeah. And I can't stress enough watching it. It feels like an operational battle. It feels like a battalion commander watching his multiple companies all run around and do their separate objectives as part of a big overall plan. Incredible. My hat's off to Keith and David and you guys.
And Jeff.
Dude, we're raving. Jeff. Yeah, sorry. Dude, we're raving fans, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the game.
Well, thank you all, by the way, for the huge amounts of effort obviously going into this. We can't keep thanking them enough, so I'll just throw that in there.
Yeah, I heard you say it. They literally sat here and just kind of drooled over the map for about the first hour. They were just kidding. Wow, and they were picking up the forest and looking at all the stuff. Where'd you get these grain silos from? And he's like, oh yeah, well they do them differently. And Mark's like, I researched them, and apparently, in America we do one big. We tend to have a tendency to do one really big, super big, tall one. And he's like, in Europe, no, they do all the little small ones with the central conveyor belts between them, which you can see because apparently he went and researched that before he printed them. And just listening to them talk about the board, they were just literally sat here and drooled, and it was pretty funny watching them because it's still awesome and cool. But I've been looking at it kind of most of the week, so it's losing some of the shine. I mean, it's still awesome.
Is it different because you're actually getting to play on it now?
Oh yes, yeah. But I mean, no, it's been awesome playing on this.
And to be honest, he's not the only one that's drooling over the map, because I have actually seen Mark putting this together for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I've helped him some. He's mostly done it on his own, but to see it all put together, I had never seen it until this week. All 8 maps. You guys are not the only ones drooling over this map. It is really cool. It's totally awesome.
Mark was telling me when I came in, this Keith can't see behind the camera, but Mark was telling me when he came in, he's like, we're kibitzing about the board and this and that and design. He's like, hey, come on, we gotta play. Come on, let's set up. We gotta play. We gotta play. I'm here to play.
He's not lying.
He's not lying.
That's pretty much exactly how it went down.
Yeah.
All right.
The great thing, like others have mentioned, is just the team aspect of that. It's wonderful that the World at War, it scales up very well. It's just as well on a monster size scenario like this compared to the 1 or 2 maps scenarios.
It does, yeah.
And the team aspect, it just adds to it the fun, I think.
I got some questions for you guys. Here's one of them. I guess this goes to anybody in the room besides Jeff and Keith. What other war games have you guys worked on, if any?
Are you talking about officially, or did we just play?
Yeah, we talk about like working on play testing, playing.
Anything, any of the above, I guess.
Just
war games. I've had some peripheral play testing on Team Yankee.
Oh,
well, there's actually a 28 millimeter. Well, it's a little bit smaller than 28, but
the rules, 28 millimeter rules.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than that because the tank, like an M1 Abrams, is about this.
Yeah.
About this
It's
size.
big and chunky.
They're very proud of it at the hobby store. So,
Yeah. But I wasn't like directly, but a group of the guys that I game with are real big into that game, and they are play testers. So I'll wander by sometimes when I'm up at the shop, and I'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And they're like, "Oh, we're, they gave us this new scenario, and we're working on this, or we're play testing the new units, kind of thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that's about as close as I've got on that. I've done some beta testing for some video games, which is not directly related on this, but
testing. You gotta know when to push. You gotta know how to push the envelope to test. You have to break things.
Well, it's actually funny on that regards. Way back when we first met, that's how I met. Mark worked for another company, and he was developing some diagnostic software for AC equipment. And I had just been laid off from my job at Scientific Atlanta, which is a full service lottery company. And my job was basically sit there and win free money from the lottery and then explain to them how I did it. And I can't play the lottery for the rest of my life because of that.
Oh my God.
I'm not even joking about that.
Wow.
I can't play probability games, which are the ones where every ticket can win. But he hired me because we were gaming at the shop, and he was just like, "Oh, what's going on?" I was like, "Oh man, I'm a little bummed. I've been laid off." And he's like, "Well, what'd you do?" And I explained my job, and he was like, "Do I have a job for you?" And I actually got caught on because he has all this, this is 20 years ago. He has all these HVAC guys, which they're like, "Here, hand them a screwdriver and a roll of duct tape and some baling wire, and they'll build you an air conditioner that'll run for 20 years. But they couldn't figure out how to turn a laptop on. And then actually using software, they're like, what?
At some point, I'd like to give this back to lock and load stuff.
Yes!
Master director.
So basically, I started off as a software tester, which is they would give me the beta version of the software.
Right.
And I would sit there and figure out how to break it and then explain to the programmers what silliness I had done.
Yeah.
The login screen, what did you do? I hit the 9 key and I held it down until it went and the computer exploded.
Right. Gotta break things.
So yeah, push the envelope.
It's actually a very important job. I'll be quite honest with you.
And all kidding aside, he was really good at it. He done a fabulous job. So now he says he worked for me. Understand? We were friends first. We
still are friends.
And we still are.
Well, it depends who wins today. No.
Well, me and him are on the same team. We're both NATO commanders. So. He's on the opposite flank.
That doesn't change the point.
No, it's not. It's still a valid.
I have the Russian airborne units that is coming up there, the NATO's.
The helicopter.
Yeah, we're going to have a little brother against brother infantry scrum.
Shortly, that is coming.
And there's a whole lot of infantry there and not a whole lot of armor, so this is going to be fascinating. Because we were talking about it. It's the new version. One of the things is a conceptual evolution because we tore down all the old values and built them up with a consistent algorithm. So when you play the game, it's become much more a combined arms game, especially for NATO, because they just have fewer units, but they have more like attachment types and everything. But you need them. But once you have them, your M1s are more effective because of their supporting infantry and the tow teams and the M901s with more tow weapons, and you have to basically depend on each other and try not to get killed is also helpful too when you're outnumbered. But part of it is this infantry. It's not an infantry game, but there are moments when there's just not enough armor to go around, and you end up with these infantry fights that are. I mean, my own experience in testing is this. Again, it's not quite fair because I played more than everyone else, but the people who I've seen who played like the Rhine and other scenarios where there's a lot of infantry, you get these infantry fights for hills. It's like World War I. it's like, what do we do? We're charging up the hill. Who's up there? Infantry. Oh my God. So it's become, you get these different moments that make it into just a much, I like an operational field, what Mark was saying, where you have these different tools, but they're not always in the right place at the right time, and you do what you can with what you have. But if you have combined arms, you have the most effective set of tools.
Right.
Yep, I saw that in my starter scenario. It ended up with an infantry assault with armor was 15 hexes plus away.
Right.
Infantry assault into a town. They took the town, and then the Americans immediately came back in and counter assaulted.
Right.
And it's just this brutal, house to house fight scenario. So it definitely worked out that way. That's what I saw.
Cool.
I'm sure we're going to get into it when we have to.
Oh, we're definitely getting into it. Big town, lots of infantry. Sounds like a nice fight to
we've got a reinforced infantry battalion hanging out there in Eschborn, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry, I'm not German.
I can't see the name tag in here, but Eschborn.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to dig that out at some point, and it's going to be fun. I'm glad I don't have that job, just so we're clear.
Yeah. You're on the right flank with the tanks and not the left flank with the infantry.
Yeah, I just don't want to have to dig out of that town.
Right.
I think it might be fun, the scrum that's going to get into with that airborne drop when it hits. I think that's going to be a fun little fight.
Yeah.
But the infantry in a city with a time to dig in and improve positions, I'm just like, that's going to be a tough nut to crack.
One of the appeals, you guys are sitting there talking about the pronunciation of these cities. It is really cool to know that we're fighting on an actual location in the Foley Gap.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but for nerds like us, and I say that lovingly, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, we're going in. The director of the program of that we're in came in today and looked at the map. She's not a gamer at all, but she asked where it was, and we told her, this is Frankfurt. She had just the vacation there earlier in the year. And it was really cool to see a non-gamer that's never had any experience with this really just all of a sudden take a higher level of interest in the map because she just visited that. And that's a nice touch, honestly. That was really cool.
And it's the lower right of this map is actually Frankfurt proper. So, defensive Frankfurt, we made that for a reason because we're like, it's not just that you're defending Frankfurt for distance. You're right on top of Frankfurt at this point. This is the desperate battle for this particular location.
Yeah, like the next map over, having seen the bigger map, is literally the Rhine, and then directly on the other side of that is the main. We're on the outskirts of Frankfurt on the far side of the Rhine.
Mm-hmm.
And the main
river,
So it's like we're literally the next map is the Rhine in Frankfurt.
Yeah, this is a really fun scenario.
What else you want to know?
All right. You know what, guys? Hold on 1 second. I'm going to do one more announcement.
You're listening to On the Air with Lock and Load Publishing, and we'll be right back.
Sorry, guys. Hit that button once. Hey, Steve. Steve has a comment. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
Steve,
well, of course.
Steve, well, I mean,
Good to hear.
because I don't know much about this situation. Why wasn't it cool? Like, look, I'm ignorant. Please enlighten me.
Well, from my standpoint, I could tell you that a Soviet tank guards tank army across the border, maybe 30 miles away, that want to make everybody dress like you did, is and as an 18-year-old, you're filling out your will.
Right.
Yeah, there's some. Listen, all the vets like to talk about all the good times, and there are a lot of good times. There's some very sobering moments, and pucker factor. It's a thing.
Yeah, I was about to say I can only imagine, but I can only imagine there's a balloon goes up moment that in your life when you're kind of like, what if it actually does happen? What if what we're training for actually happens?
Listen, I've been there, heard the call. Hey man, this is real. We're on.
Yeah. I mean, you and Steve both, so I totally understand his comment.
And you start, and no pun intended, you start locking and loading the rifles or the ARs. I mean, I was in 16 back then, but you start locking and load that stuff for real. And you're 18, 19, 21 years old. It puts a new perspective. It was, Steve's comment there about the life expectancy was minutes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I can't either.
And to Steve, once again, hats off, brother. But there's a maturity or it's almost like there's sometimes you measure life in years, and there's sometimes you measure life in minutes.
Right.
Because there's this desire, like, if this thing happens, we're done. How do I make the best of what I've got left? And it's our maturity process, and so it's great to play it, because looking back on it, some of the really the sucky days,
the dicey moments,
they kind of fade a little bit. You remember some of the good stuff, not all of them, but you got to break this up a little bit. But it's fun to game it and to what if it. Absolutely not so fun to do it.
Right.
Or to be prepared to do it.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was in basic training when Desert Storm went up, and I was getting done with basic training, when AIT, and was wondering, is this going to be done before I'm done, or is that where I'm going?
Right.
I mean, it turned out it was over and finished by the time I was ready to actually go anywhere. So I never went, but it was a concern. I was, because I have in the service, we called it the I saw it on TV war, because at the time we hadn't seen combat in so long that they gave everybody who was in service from certain dates the Desert Storm campaign medal. I was like, in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, traded. I was like, I didn't see combat. I never faced the Iraqis. However, uncomplimentary you may or may not want to be with them. Given the results of the war, I honestly
think you don't know that till after it's done.
Right. Well, I think a lot of that was just disparity in equipment. I don't think it was their unwillingness to fight.
That's right.
It was just they had T-54s versus M1 Abrams.
Yeah, no chance.
That's the view looking back. The view looking.
Oh yeah, this was serious business.
You drive
back
off
then.
and you see your 2-year-old crying and your
your
wife crying, and you don't know if you're ever going to see him again. And then when you look at the plane, above the plane, it says, "You will not step on this plane without your mop gear." At that point, stuff starts driving home.
Well, see, I got lucky. Well, in basic training, when I was in basic, the Berlin Wall fell.
Right.
And we found out about it. My sister had sent, smuggled in a newspaper, and that was the front page that she sent.
That's cool. Wow.
And I didn't get to Germany until '92, and by that time they'd already reunified. So this threat was pretty much behind us. When I joined the Army, it was full of
It's a real thing.
Yeah, I was going to go over there. I went to Desert Storm. All you missed was sand in your food. So
you're
fucking
wearing mop suits.
Lots of mop gear. Oh my god. Oh yeah, it was great. It
Oh.
was fine.
Oh,
No problem.
I wore plenty of mop gear in Fort Jackson, South Carolina in August.
Just
So
remember,
trust me, I
nothing is
got
too good
mop
for the
gear
American
and
fighting
heat. I got plenty of experience. They were training us for that. Don't worry.
Nothing is too good for the American fighting man.
Yeah, charcoal suits.
Bloody hell, are you guys all soldiers?
Well, yeah, 20 years and 200 pounds ago.
Right. Yeah. I'm not
I
quite
hate
as
that
far in
guy.
advance, but I've been out for a while.
Like I'm a cook and a musician, man.
I'm not. I think I didn't realize you would serve, but I think you and Devin was in the Navy. I think that's. And we have another gentleman who's off camera. He was a tanker about the same time. Come on in. Well, you know, I was a mechanic. You fix enough of them, you start. How did you break this? What possessed you to think that it was a great idea to take your tank off of this cliff? And I'm looking at it going, it's a 14-foot cliff. Why were you driving 60 miles an hour doing it? You're looking at me going, fix it. I'm like, no, you idiot. Fix it your dang self.
One of the things that I will give you a designer perspective. And first of all, let me thank all of you for your service again. Being a dedicated civilian has been meeting so many of our military in all the different branches. And I tell this story where when you talk to the tankers are like, we're the best. And those infantry, oh, they're crunchies. And the infantry are like, bring it on, tanks, you know, and artillery's like, we got you all, you know. And what amazed me and you know, inspired me was that each branch had super high morale. You know, it didn't really matter whether they, you know, because it was camaraderie pushing, you know. And of course, the Marines there, we got a couple of Marines on our team who we love. So it's like, it's amazing to me that this is just our military talking to all these guys, because you got to get the details. And we still go back and forth with some of the details where the game system, it's a moderate level of complexity. It's a die-stick system. There are things it handles really well, which is this, and it's fun. When you get down into like the MBT level, it's not really built for that. That's what MBT's for. So it's been wonderful to get to know all these people and to have them influence this. Every conversation I had with somebody was really important. And people like, you know, you're sending me a copy of the game because I'm on the design team. Yeah, because you had a 2-line conversation with me that solidified, say, this unit counter or this weapon or whatever it was, or the fact that, you know, the morale system is, you know, properly implemented or whatever it is. It's been really an amazing experience for me. So, yeah. And one of the things I think that distinguishes this particular thing is the enthusiasm for this time period that all the veterans bring to it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, I need the real world order of battle for the 11th ACR in 1985. And, you know, buddy gets on there, gets on Facebook on the veterans group he's on, and the group mind comes up with all of it in about an hour and a half. So it's an amazing community, amazing experience. I'm really honored to be part of it in this way.
Yeah, I mean, for some of it, it's what you did. Like, you were talking to me, you were talking about, you look at some of these orders of battle and you're like, they have like, you know, there's no, the order of battle, they said they only had, you were saying like, you know, they only have like 8 battalions, but yet when you look at how many vehicles they have like 10 or 12 battalions worth of vehicles. And I was like, yeah, well, speaking as a mechanic, I worked in a motor pool. We have more, you know,
more vehicles than crews.
Yeah, there's plans for that. A lot of it is like, what happens when we have to pull vehicles off the line to maintenance them? It's like, we're going to maintenance the transmission. That's going to take a week. So here's your replacement vehicle while this one's out in the shop. It can't do anything, you know, so there's lots of stuff like that.
Right.
Some of that's planning for casualties. We know, look, hey, the vehicle's going to get shot up.
Right.
The crew's probably going to survive, but the vehicle's going to be a smoking, burning wreck.
Right.
You got to have something else to send them out in. So,
wait, what did Darren say? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I don't know what I said, but I know what I'm thinking. There's this guy called Darren White.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah, and he wants to buy me a booster seat. I'll tell you something, Darren, that I don't have to reach up for an uppercut. I can just and you're going down.
But that's where his best shielded is. So, you know.
I mean, you know, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely more interested in this. Some of it is, you know, the what ifs, because what could have happened to me, that kind of thing. And some of it is like, I've never been super excited about World War II because ultimately, I'm like, we know. Like, it was done. We fought it out. We know who wins. We know who loses. You know, we know how big or how bad it was. And while there was definitely some places where it was dicey or whatnot, ultimately, you know,
so it's like, the alternate history that.
Yeah, because this is, nobody knows. Right. It never happened. The balloon on this never went up. There were a couple Soviet versus, thank goodness, definitely. but there was a couple Soviet versus NATO proxy fights, and in some of the third world stuff going on.
Yeah.
But there was never actual U.S. or NATO troops fighting Warsaw Pact troops, especially in Europe. There was, like I said, there was some. We had our advisors on each side of the fight, kind of thing.
All sideshow, no main event.
Right, exactly. Thank goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, I'm very glad it never went happen because, listen to you guys talk about there's no nuclear threshold. The whole point of this is
it's a blue level game. It's like
it's we don't want the aim doesn't go nuclear. Nobody ever has that.
Right. Nobody wins a nuclear exchange. There's just
Right.
no way.
And I agree. I mean, I grew up with that, and I'm totally on board with that. It's like, yeah, it was always what happens when the nukes start flying.
Yeah.
Because that's just nobody wins. Just like you said, nobody wins.
Well, I mean, listening to guys like you who have been in that situation. 1, I'm Canadian. 2, I'm civilian. 3, I get my information from the news, so understand where I'm coming from. So, for me, it's like, it's never gonna happen. But then you guys are telling me that each one of you are signing a will, and you're 18 years old, and you're signing away your life. So there's a seriousness about it that it's incomprehensible to a guy like me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of the veteran community, there's a kind of a saying / meme joke, and it's being a veteran means that you wrote a check to the U.S. military for the amount up to and including your body and your life.
Bloody hell.
Here's a blank check.
Right.
Do what you
Bloody
want.
hell. No, like it's not even funny.
You think that's bad? I wrote my will before I ever did my taxes.
Yeah.
It'll grow you up.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I have no illusions. Joining the Army was one of the best things I ever did. I was a freaking punk. I was a punk ass kid. I was a punk ass kid until the Army slapped some sense into me. There's no doubt about it.
He has FRM1s.
You know what? I was a punk ass kid till 2 minutes ago.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I know, trust me, I learned several important life lessons from just going through the military. I mean, it's just, it's a good experience. I had a buddy of mine that was a year behind. It was really funny because back then they had a thing called the split op program, which was you go in on your junior year, come back to your senior year of high school, and then go back in.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back from that, and he was like, "What's it like? What's it like?" Because he was going to go in too. And when he came back, when he finally got back from when he went to the Marines, but when he finally came back, and he was like, "I get it now." Like, I didn't understand before because I kept trying to explain some of these things, and he's just like,
"Yeah,
it seemed right. I don't understand it." And I was like, "You kind of have to be there and go through it on a certain level. It is what it is."
Yep.
And it's not for everybody, and I don't think.
So join the Lock and Load Army. Sorry.
Right.
There was a KISS Nation, so we can have a Lock and Load Army, can't we?
Yeah.
The Lock and Load Army is more like Dumbledore's Army.
All right, guys, I got 2 more pictures we haven't shown. I'm going to put those up so you got what Mark or you have to say. Is Devin alive, or did you gag him? I haven't heard a peep out of him.
I'm here. No, he's just been quiet, sitting over in the corner.
But just let him tell him there's beer by the corner there. He'll come over to the camera.
I think he says he wants to see your pretty face. Come on in.
I never said pretty.
I'm handsome.
Speaking of the M1s,
Handsome individual.
speaking of Kevin's M1s,
That's right.
All right, there's another image up there. I don't know, Mark or whoever like to talk about it.
That was actually a stage shot that we took just to give you some B-roll of an M1 company moving on the outskirts of Frankfurt. And we wanted to have kind of some shots of terrain, but with just the vehicles in there for scale. So we staged that one.
All right. And last picture I think I have, guys.
that's that same thing.
That's the same picture from another angle.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another comment. That's what they have to say. It's Steve.
Hey, when Turkey pulled out of NATO, but the Warsaw Pact and NATO went on alert to the border, I can tell you that day we were afraid that we were getting ready to find out.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, and part of the background of this, because this, like I said, there's an outline of the campaigns here that we're planning in this game series, and it's sort of like an outline for Red Storm Rising or Red Army or whatever. It's our version of events, and it's not something that's, well, it is sort of getting published with the books. Brad Smith's taking the ball and running with it as far as filling in the detail of the outline that we're doing. But it's oh shoot, what was I going to say?
Turkey.
Oh yeah, Turkey. So part of this background is, how does this happen? What's the situation where things go to war, and some of the historical events. Somewhere we have a timeline. Whatever happened to that timeline? But one of the timelines is 1983. There was Operation Able Archer, and there were alerts on both sides that it came very close because the Soviets didn't know, for whatever reason, that it was a NATO exercise, and it got very close in '83. So yeah, it's you're a fingers push from a nuclear war, let alone a shooting war.
Well, we should have the audiobook. Keith has finished recording, and I know he's finishing up the second one. Keith, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then we may have a little surprise with you on the books, but I'm not going to say what it is now until I'm done. And hey, someone's asking. I believe you already said, Mark, those are Monopoly houses that's on the map.
Yeah, about 99% of the houses are Monopoly houses. Yes.
Nice.
There's a couple of the churches. I've got a warehouse. I've got a barn, some grain silos, an administrative building that are 3D printed, but everything else is Monopoly houses.
I'll never look at Monopoly the same way again.
That's right.
I want to have one for my
factories are Monopoly houses.
No, the factories are just old Monopoly houses that I use toothpicks to make.
How many Monopoly games did you have to cannibalize?
As it turns out, eBay he got sold out. I have been by the Ziploc bag tools, and now Pico sells them, but I've always just what I do is I just do a search on eBay. If they come in lower than the Pico price, and if they do, I just buy a Ziploc bag, and I'm out. By the way. Yeah, I've got to restock all my supplies. I can't go to any more maps.
Oh, there you go. That's okay. This is extremely versatile.
There's a lot of Monopoly houses on that board. I'm just saying. And when I say Ziploc bags, I'm not talking about snack bags. I'm talking about the gallon freezer.
Right.
Yeah, I was buying them by that.
How much you got?
Usually not much.
What do you think of the map and everything?
I'll say that again.
I was saying, Devin, what do you think of the map and the whole experience so far?
I've been watching Mark have this project evolve for several months now. So I kind of had an idea of what this thing was going to look like, but seeing it up close in person, all 8 map boards together, it's stunned. Yeah. We all were. I mean, there's just there's no words. No words.
I tell you, Devin put a sneak peek up about an hour before we got.
That was far enough away that you couldn't see.
He was sitting way in the back. The opposite side of the room was way in the back of the room, and you could see a hint of this board. And I'm like, I still don't really have it. When we walked in an hour later, we were just totally blown away. Because the reality of it is completely different from any pictures you can do, except the really super close-ups, which are really cool.
All right, guys. Well, let me. So, Mark, what is the plan? You guys are gonna. I don't know if you guys want to try something a little different and have the survey players sit down, tell their strategy, showing the map, and then maybe have the NATO players sit down and tell their strategy.
Excellent idea.
Wait. Do we have to leave the room?
No. We're recording. Let's hear that plan in detail.
Recording.
Illustrations is perfectly acceptable.
We have to understand that when we started this, we started doing our plan, and the Russians sort of hovering around, and then I look up, and there's a Russian on my left and a Russian on my right, and I'm NATO. And I'm like, is there any way we can get the room? So they had to go to the break room. Then we finished, and came back in. And then we got kicked out to the break room. So having us together here and having them show us our plan, that is part of our plan.
Yeah, you got to understand that we are straight up nerds. I can't see, so you have to move around.
You can move it closer. It's like
So we're sitting over there. We're
tilted toward me.
good for
There
you.
you- Yeah, a little bit back. You got shine right out there. You go. That's
Yes,
close enough.
so both sides have a planning map that they're kind of going off and you're tackling
Right.
as we draw the plan. Not too close. I don't want to say this thing yet. As master, and also understand this. One of the things we nerded out on here, because it's not really conventions, just an event, just some guys playing, but I'm the only infantry here. Yeah, you'll give you guys some of this. So what we've got is period uniforms. So this is U.S. Woodland and Soviet type 70s. There you go. And since the company commander's a captain, we get a captain rank. Then we did insignia branch, and then on the back, if you flip it over, so depending on what side you are, you display your uniform. Did I mention we were nerds? There you go. So yeah, I would definitely like to have the Russians down here. Can we top? Let's get them Russians down here. Let's talk about that plan. Let's talk about the experiences. And specifically what that airborne battalion is.
Where is that air mobile assault going?
Feel free to
come on, sit in the hot seats.
Sure. That's right.
Okay, so
in the hot seat.
Feel free.
As the Soviets were mainly on the defensive, so in the way the scenario is set up, both sides have a number of objectives. At the end of the scenario, you count up how many objectives you achieved on each side, and whoever got more objectives wins the scenario. So, and both sides have a combination of, the Soviets have a combination of defensive objectives and offensive objectives, while the NATO side's primarily on the offensive. So, our plan is to hold grimly on into our entrenched positions with our initial troops and wait for the reinforcing regiment to come and save the day for us.
I would like to point out that we were originally just going to do our formations and kind of catch as catch can, but somehow I've ended up with the depleted battalion at the very sword tip of this. So yeah, I'm the infantry defender in the city that's going to be playing with Mark's attacking infantry here real soon, and I'm hoping the air mobile forces get here really quick.
Your name's,
You should be proud, comrade.
The original ballerina.
Be proud of your appointment.
I am completely proud. I have drunk all the vodka in the city to celebrate the people's glorious revolution of liberating this little place where I'm going to die.
It's very Russian of you to pull the short straw.
That's right.
Everybody dies. You must die well.
So, and we do have a quick reaction reinforcement in the form of an air assault battalion. They're currently loaded on their
So let's go and
helicopters.
say more about that.
Yep. We have a lot of options available to because the air mobile infantry are very highly mobile. So, we do have some options. Some options we favor a little bit more than others. One option in particular, Keith already knows about. That would have been my third one. So I don't think he's going to play into that. So. But, with the loss of their chaparral battery, it does open up our options because now the air defense is a little bit more depleted and mostly relies on Vulcan.
And I would like to point out that we sacrificed our only air support at this point to take out those stupid chaparrals.
And I think it was worth it.
We did not take it out. The frog foot just ran out of ammunition.
Right.
It did not get shot down.
We fired every shell in hell.
And they all found their way into the chaparral.
Swiss cheese.
So we have a lot of options with the air mobile. They can help support some of our offensive options or some of our defensive options, and the NATO side would very much like to know where they're heading. So
What I think is going to be the most interesting is we've got a battalion of U.S. M1s that are almost running down the exact same road our battalions of T-80s
are going that way.
Yeah, they're
looking a little head-on-ish.
Yeah, they're going to be running. They're going to be running head-on into each other, and that's just going to turn into a bloodbath.
Yeah.
yes, it will.
Only type of wargaming you can have, guys.
So, and we're waiting for a couple of battalions of artillery support to come onto the board, and we'll be able to set up pretty nicely to support your troops there.
Yeah, yes, that's the other thing I'm waiting on is my
regimental artillery.
Movement, always movement, comrades.
So, but the one thing with us though too is NATO has some pretty good firepower. The F-111s already came in and took out pretty much a company of tanks.
Yeah.
They have another one coming, and I think they also have 2 or more rounds of A-10 support coming through. And worst of all, it's probably going to be the Apaches, which will be coming through. So we're going to have to make sure we have our air defense assets deployed appropriately.
Steve's like, that's exactly what the Soviets asked for.
Hey guys, you want to get the other side in there? We'll hear from them.
Sure.
Yes, please.
All right, Clay.
The NATO side's going to go over and talk about our.
You'd like some follow-up questions?
So, wow, the sensor steps in.
And that's our plan.
And that's our plan.
Good talk.
Well, I believe, Mark, I believe the idea tomorrow is to do like a very short update tomorrow just to see how the battle went and how the units are on the map. Are we still planning for that?
Yeah, actually, what we're going to do is we have breakfast coming in at 8. So we'll do breakfast from 8 to 9, and at 9 o'clock we'll get started. And we are going to broadcast on LNLP. We'll have 2 cameras. We'll have a straight overhead camera, and then we will have a side mount or sidewall camera that we can kind of zoom into. We divided the boards into 6 quadrants, and we kind of preset the side camera. We get about I don't know, I want to say about a 6-foot view on each preset, and then about an 8 to 10 foot view on the overall. And then we're going to run that all day. Just for your information, we're also recording it. So if we want to go back and get any footage from it, we can. But we're just going to run that all day, so that if anybody was just interested in how the battle's going, they can just log on to your live and kind of track it.
All right. So do you want us to jump on tomorrow and just interview how the plan's working out or not working out as it might be?
Yeah, that's totally up to you. I mean, we're open to it.
You want to do it at the same time that we did it tonight?
That works for us, yeah. Because we'll be burnt out by then.
Yeah.
Or the Russians.
Or their tanks.
Somebody's butt's getting kicked. It might be ours, but there's going to be some butt kicking going on tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, hey, why don't you everyone come in? We'll end the show and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll just see how the battles went and get some picture updates.
Okay, and we're going to go live on your channel just for the remap in 9-ish, and then we'll just kind of leave it on all day, and then I think we'll take a break towards dinner time, and then we'll come back on and do it in this format where we work it through your system. Does that work?
That works for me.
Okay.
Someone's asking, I'm not sure what the question is, Mike. Can people pop in? I think anyone can view it if that's what you're asking, Mike.
Yeah. It's going to be live all day. We'll put on from 9 until dinner time-ish, 9 a.m. until dinner time-ish Eastern, and anybody that wants to see it will pop up and see. And we might see the questions as they come up, so type them, and we'll have somebody periodically check it. Honestly, we're not going to have anybody dedicated to just kind of being the director, but we're going to try to be sensitive to the fact that we are doing a video cast and try to keep it zoomed in on the action where we can.
Yeah, basically at 6 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we're all going to kind of jump in here and do a little bit, get an update on the battle and show the people where the maps are and stuff. Oh, Mike's in the Atlanta area.
Oh, yeah. Literally. Oh, I thought he was coming already. Is that Sabret? I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome to come. The details are up there. And my contact information is on the event details. So if you want to stop by, absolutely. Just get directions to the facility that's in the event details, and then give me a call when you're here, and we'll have somebody bring in.
Yeah, Mike, if you're a part of the World at War 85 group on Facebook with Lock and Load, the details are also there. You can just download them. It's a PDF.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of troops who you stay here too long, you might get a command. So we're not going to rule that out.
You know, we did the first scenario with WBC on the vinyl map, on the board making map, and you can stop by for 5 minutes because at conventions people have places to go, and we had guys who sat down for hours and they didn't know what the game was till they walked up to the table. So be careful.
Yeah. Give me command.
All right, guys. Well, hey, Mark, again, I really cannot thank you for doing this. If it wasn't for me having to be here waiting for those stupid games to get on the ship, which I know everyone prefers, I would be down there. It's stupid now because I'm not playing the game. I'm over here.
He knows what he's missing now. He's upset, I think. Justifiably so.
Well, yesterday's sneak peek was pretty damn awesome, I have to tell you.
Cool.
Thank you. Hey, we'd love to have you.
So let me get this straight from my head again. So you say the games are in a container?
Yeah, they actually put them in the container and they're being loaded onto ships. Now, I think what they're doing is just waiting for. I told them I did not want them doing what they did to us last time, Keith. Remember, they put one container on one ship,
right,
sent it to sea, put another container on another ship, sent it to sea. So I told them I wanted all three containers that are going to the same location at the same time. Now, what's a bit more complicated is we have some of the games traveling by truck in China to our distributor in China who's going to handle all the Asia area. And then we have another ship leaving from China going to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have another one that is leaving going to the UK to Second Chance Games. Mm-hmm. They're going to be not only fulfilling our Kickstarter for us, but they're also going to be fulfilling our orders in the very near future. Mm-hmm. So when people buy from us in the UK or Europe, for that matter, it is going to come from Second Chance Games.
Right.
And of course, we have our games coming to us.
Right. Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, then, Keith, and get everybody in there.
Well, everybody come on in, best you can. We may have to move the camera back a little bit here.
I can do that. You want me to pull the camera
Yeah,
back?
pull the camera back so we can get a group shot. Let's come in and center on the chair here. Now, we'll stand in front of the chair, but
Prepare for the shaky earth experience.
Must be M1 Abrams coming.
Just camera down.
Uh-oh. Camera down.
Okay, guys, I just want to tell you, I give you all a lot of kudos for doing this. You want the camera a little bit up? There you go.
Hey.
Everyone start waving. That's it. This is it.
All right, thanks for watching.
Well, that is all you have for this episode. Until next time. Production.